Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking some truly fascinating stuff about who, or maybe what, is actually in control of our daily actions. If you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, or you're struggling to break a really stubborn habit, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are cracking the code on the conscious versus the subconscious mind.
So, is your body making decisions without your permission? Just kind of sit with that thought for a second. Think about how often you do something complex, like driving your usual route to work, or maybe eating a meal, while completely and utterly lost in your own thoughts. You arrive at your destination, but you barely even remember the drive. Your body just did it. How is that even possible?
All right, let's get into section 1, the overthinking epidemic.
To figure out how our body takes over so effortlessly, we first got to look at what's distracting us in the first place. We live in this age of incredible convenience, yet we are more restless than ever. The modern plague isn't just physical, it's this mental storm where the physical body is completely still, but the mind is sprinting an absolute marathon. Picture this scenario, and I'm sure we all know it way too well. It's 2 a.m., the room's quiet, your body is resting in bed, completely exhausted. But your mind, it has decided right now is the perfect time to run miles away. One thought finishes, the next one begins. Suddenly, you're trapped in a storm of past regrets, replaying some awkward mistake you made like 5 years ago, and then you immediately swing into future anxieties about a meeting you have tomorrow. It's totally absurd, yet you wake up the next morning and your mind is actually more tired than your body.
And that brings us to this profound truth. The mind does not predict the future. It only creates pictures of its own fear. We literally exhaust ourselves over worst-case scenarios that almost never actually happen. We mistakenly believe that our anxious overthinking is like actual problem solving. We trick ourselves into thinking, hey, if I just worry about this enough, I'll control the outcome. But as the source material points out, the mind isn't predicting a single thing at 2 a.m. It's just running a highly convincing, fearful simulation.
Moving on to section 2, pilot versus autopilot. So if our minds are constantly checking out to worry about the past or the future, who's actually running the show right now? Well, we're going to visualize the mind as an airplane cockpit, and honestly, this analogy is going to completely change how you view your daily routines. Think of your conscious mind as the pilot, and your subconscious mind as the autopilot. When the pilot is actively engaged, like when you're fully present and aware of what you're doing, the autopilot steps back. But the absolute second the pilot checks out into daydreams or worries or overthinking, the autopilot instantly takes over the flight. The plane doesn't crash, the autopilot just flawlessly executes whatever it's been programmed to do.
And this brings us to a frankly staggering statistic. 95 to 97% of our daily lives is driven entirely by this subconscious autopilot. Only 3 to 5% of our actions are actual conscious choices made by the pilot. Think about that for a second. Almost everything you do, everything you feel and react to today is just an automatic program running in the background while your pilot is asleep at the wheel.
Which leads us to section 3, your body is the subconscious.
This naturally leads us to the biggest revelation of this entire analysis. If a subconscious is doing 95% of the heavy lifting, where exactly is it? We really need to demystify this because it's definitely not what most people think. The subconscious mind is not some mystical, magical force floating around in the ether. It is your physical body itself. Yeah, your body. Your physical body is executing those ingrained habits, it's storing those emotions, and it's driving those behaviors without a single input from the sleeping pilot. When the pilot is lost in thought, the body just takes the wheel.
To prove this, let's look at the mosquito reflex. Imagine a mosquito bites your arm. Before you even have a conscious thought about it, before you even register the word mosquito in your mind, your other hand automatically lifts and swats it. Your body did that. It acted entirely on its own, based on past programming, because the physical body literally is the subconscious mind. Unless the pilot intentionally steps in to say, no, let the mosquito bite me, which, by the way, takes immense effort, the body is always going to execute that automatic reflex.
Okay, section 4, awareness in the moment.
Which brings us to the most practical part of our explainer. How do we actually start waking up that sleeping pilot? How do we take back control from the body's autopilot? Well, it starts with this core philosophical truth. Awareness is not a technique, but observation. Really ground yourself in that. Awareness isn't some stressful new habit you have to force upon yourself. It isn't about fighting your body. It is simply about observing your habits exactly as they happen. You just have to watch the autopilot at work without judging it.
But here's where people tend to get a bit confused. True awareness must be directed inward. It's not about noticing external things. It's not about noticing that your bed sheets are blue,
or that there's a pile of dirty dishes in the kitchen. True awareness is observing the internal programming. It's noticing the physical feelings inside your body when an emotion rises, or catching the exact second your body kicks off an automatic routine.
Let's walk through a highly relatable analogy to see this in action. Putting on a shirt. Step 1. Your autopilot engages. Every single morning, you probably put your right arm into your shirt sleeve first without even thinking about it. Step 2. Waking the pilot. Tomorrow morning, you catch the autopilot in real time. You pause, observe the habit, and say, my body wants to put the right arm in first. Step 3. Conscious shift. With the pilot finally awake, you intentionally choose to put your left arm in first. That simple, tiny shift is the absolute essence of reprogramming. You caught the autopilot, you avoided throwing your shirt on backwards without noticing, and you took back the controls.
And finally, Section 5, the power of pausing. That simple shift with the shirt opens the door to our final, actionable solution for breaking stubborn habits, the pattern interrupt. Look at it like this. Willpower equals the intensity of your awareness. We often think of willpower as this finite muscle of pure, gritty discipline, but it's really just a strong burst of awareness. If your awareness in a given moment is stronger than the intensity of your anger or your craving, you win. We can train this awareness muscle by deliberately interrupting our automatic physical patterns.
So how do we train it? Through intentional pauses. These are mundane, everyday pattern interrupts that force the pilot to wake up. Like, try pausing for just 5 seconds right before you take a bite of food. Stop suddenly mid-walk and just feel your feet on the ground. Pause a TV show right in the middle of a scene and walk away for a minute. Delay checking your phone when it pings. Every single time you deny the autopilot its immediate automatic satisfaction, you are bringing energy and intentionality right back to the conscious pilot. But, and this is absolutely crucial, to truly reprogram a deep autopilot habit, you got to go a step further. You have to find the root cause. Don't just trim the leaves. For instance, if you're trying to stop overeating, pausing is great. But in that pause, you need to observe why the autopilot is reaching for the food in the first place. Actually, more often than not, the body is just seeking pleasure to escape an underlying stress, sadness, or a feeling of low self-esteem. If you only try to stop the eating, just trimming the leaves, right, the habit will literally just grow back. You have to use your awakened awareness to observe the root sadness the body is trying to escape. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a powerful final thought. The next time you reach for your phone, or react in anger, or take a blind bite of food, just ask yourself, who is really flying the plane? Is it your conscious pilot making a deliberate, intentional choice? Or is your physical body, the deeply programmed autopilot, just running a blind loop while your mind is miles away? Try throwing in a few intentional pauses today. Wake up the pilot. You might be surprised at how much of your life is just waiting for you to actually live it. Thanks for learning with me today.